If you're looking for a space to connect with a community focused on your creativity and well being, you're in the right place. Welcome to A Concept You, the podcast, where we explore creativity, intentional living, and self expression. I'm your host, Makala Aayana. Welcome to the playground. Let's get into today's episode. The first thing I want to chit chat with you guys about today is around creative wellness. I feel like this is something I talk about a lot, and I don't think I've ever really defined what creative wellness means for me. Thinking about creative wellness is the intersection of creativity and well being. It's using art as an expression, as a tool for your mental health, for your emotional health, for your physical health. And it's also the realization that creativity isn't just about art, it is also about creating a space for self discovery, creating a space for healing, creating a space for connection. And in my own creative practice, there's a couple different things that I do that I realize, kind of dumps into those different categories. So, for one, with my mixed media practice, I do photography, acrylic painting, collage, crochet. These are different modes, different mediums that I can use in an effort to storytell and to create works of art that help to bridge stories together and creates dialogue. So that is the secondary benefit when it comes to creating. The first thing is using it as a means to express yourself, to tell your story, to express how you're feeling in the moment, whatever that looks like for you. That is the first and foremost reason for creating for yourself. The second part comes when people are consuming what you are creating, when they are getting their own understandings, their own meanings out of the artwork that you poured yourself into. So that comes into play when I think of my creative wellness practice. The other piece is the creative wellness workshops that I put on. And I think that that just speaks to how much creative play that I do or that I lead in my workshops, hand on creative experiences that are meant for people to connect with one another and to have mindfulness and a way to connect with themselves. So that's another form of creative wellness in my own practice. Another example is this podcast. This is a space for conversation around identity, around culture, around self-expression, figuring out who you are and what are you trying to say. At the end of the day, creative wellness has a bunch of different outlets. It looks different for everyone. Since being in a space where I feel a little bit less creatively focused or I feel a little bit more creatively challenged, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a block that I'm experiencing right now, but definitely feeling a little bit more challenged. And one of the things that I go back to when I'm not feeling my most creative or my most comfortable self when it comes to my creativity, I always try to observe someone else's artwork or their practice. I had a chance to view Abigail Ruth's A Mother is a House, and we also got to experience her artist talk where she talked a lot about what the show meant, the journey, the story that she was trying to get across from the lens of motherhood and from the lens of building blocks, literally building bricks, building blocks as a means to create a home. And I think there's just so much beauty in her exhibition and her work in this journey of motherhood for her. And that's not something that I can necessarily relate to, given that I am not yet a mother, but I do relate very heavily in that mother daughter connection and that mother daughter story and creating a safe space for her daughter, what that looks like. And I immediately see myself in my mother. And so there is a lot to say in that because I am absorbing or consuming someone else's artwork. I am that secondary source or I'm the secondary touch point for Abigail's creativity. That initial outlet was her creating based on her own journey, based on her own story. Now that I am seeing it, I am having my own reaction. And now this is causing me to want to create something of my own. Or it is pouring into how I am reflecting, how I am thinking about my own relationship with my mother, how I am thinking about what motherhood could potentially look like and all of what that entails. And now that will seep into the way that I create, the way that I represent my own story and my own relationship with my mother. And so that is the beauty of art. That is the beauty of creativity. That is why creative wellness is something that is so important to me, because every action has a reaction. Whenever you are actively expressing yourself in the most authentic way that is true to who you are influencing someone else to do the same, no matter how small, no matter how big. When you are actively being true to who you are, being true to yourself, being true to your story is inspirational. That is the most raw, that is the most true version of who you are when you are showing up as yourself. And when you walk in the room, people feel that energy. And I think there's just so much power in that. One of my other recent creative wellness practices has been around curating. I have thought about curation, creative direction a lot, and I feel like there is a lot that I guess downplay with that area for myself as a form of creative expression, because I don't think that I have enough experience or enough ground to really talk about the things that I think I know. And what I mean by that is I feel like I have an eye for curation, for creative direction, but I second guess my own experiences because I don't feel like I have learned enough in those areas. For one, that is making me explore more and be in an area of consistent learning where I am learning about other curators and other designers and other creative directors, where I am learning about their journeys, about the things that they have produced, understanding what those areas look like so that I can continue to work on my own craft. So I'm realizing that that is helping me in a sense, but it's also creating a bit of doubt as well, because I am not trusting my gut. I'm not trusting my intuition 100%. So, one of those things that I have been trying to do lately is lean into that as much as possible, because my intuition is there for a reason. I am getting called. My calling has kept calling me. I'm consistently hearing it. So, I know that this is a journey, this is an area where I belong. I just know it is. So, in thinking about that, I recently curated a exhibition called To Be Here Now is To Be. This show is a representation of what it means to be in the present. The way that I describe this show, and I'll read this verbatim, is to be immersed in the present in all of our complexity and depth, feet planted firmly to whatever ground graces the soles of our feet, is to fully embrace and honor our current experiences, allowing them to shape and define our collective narrative. So, when I brought on the other artists who were a part of this show, I asked them to think about artwork in their collection that reminded them of where they are in the present moment or where they have been in other moments. So, using their art as a reflection of a snapshot, a moment in time that has led to the person they are today, that has helped them to become who they are in this present moment. And I think this show and really the whole idea around To Be Here Now is to remind myself to continue to think about my stories, to continue to think about these little nuances and little life moments that happen where I'm thinking, my God, this is random, or I'm stressing about why is this happening to me, or I am worried about what is to come. Thinking about all of these moments that are building who I am consistent. It's an ongoing thing. It is impacting all of these things that I'm learning about myself, is impacting how I am showing up. And there are moments, a lot of times, where I don't want to show up because I am afraid of whatever is to come, or I'm simply tired. I am wiped out. I am in a moment in a need of rest. And in those moments, my response to be here now is to be in need of rest. That is what I needed in that moment. And so I am learning to just honor wherever I am at in the present, knowing that whatever has happened is in the past and whatever is to come is not here yet. So the only thing that I can focus on is where I am at right now. And I think trying to restructure the way that I think, the way that I process things in that manner to just focus on what is right in front of me has brought me a lot of peace. Recently, it has definitely calmed a lot of the anxiety that I have been worrying about, especially when looking forward into the future and what is to come. So I think that this show has a lot of meaning to me because it is something that I can see being an ongoing project for sure. The title of the show is a statement. To be here now is to be, but it is also a means for you to fill in the blank. So in this moment, to be here now is to be at the surface. I say that because in reflecting and thinking about my response for this phrase, I have been feeling like I'm at the forefront of the next. And I feel as if I'm closing a chapter, which in many ways I am this year. And it's interesting because this time around, where normally in the past I have been very anxious about what is to come, I feel as though there have been a lot of things leading up to where I'm at today that have been making me feel more open to accepting what is yet to come. And normally that is not the case. At least it's not the case immediately, but I'm realizing that it's taking me a shorter time to accept things. And I feel very much so I am closing a chapter. I am finding myself being more open to accepting what may come my way. And I'm excited for whatever the next thing looks like, even if I have not figured that out. And I am realizing that because I'm acknowledging that, it's making me loosen up the pressure, the intensity on myself for not knowing the answer to that and not knowing what is the next thing to come. I'm 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 accepting where I'm at and I'm being in this present moment and trusting that everything will figure itself out. So, I want to ask you, what is your response? To be here now is to be fill in the blank. As you think about what that response is for you in this present moment, I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of A Concept You, the podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to share it with your loved ones. And for more, please connect with us on Instagram at aconceptyou or visit us at makala.com. That's not my website. Or visit makalacreates.com/ACY. Until next time, keep doing you and take care.